Tonight on News Hour, NNPCL pushes back on former President Obasanjo's rhetoric on viability of refineries. Peter Obi urges Tinubu to deliver radical leadership and reforms in 2025. Mixed reactions trail federal government's effort to reintroduce history in schools. And on the international scene, mysterious metallic object falls from space into Kenyan village. Good evening. Welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Sumaya Abubakar. And now the details. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has shared new insight into Nigeria's ongoing refinery challenges, recounting his failed efforts to privatize the country's refineries and the financial losses under government management. In an exclusive interview with Channels TV, Obasanjo discussed the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries during his presidency. He explained how he sought external help to rehabilitate and manage the facilities, but faced resistance, particularly from Shell. However, Obasanjo shared that his successor eventually refunded Dangote's investment, citing NNPC's decision to manage the refineries independently. I told my successor about the situation, but he was convinced that NNPC could handle it, he explained, expressing doubt about the NNPC's ability to manage the refineries effectively. Obasanjo expressed confidence in Dangote's ability to run his privately owned refinery, highlighting the contrast with the government's inefficiency.
You know what I said about Port Harcourt refinery? Did you remember?
I'm not sure, Excellency.
I will remind you. I said when I was president, I wanted to do something about the 3 refineries we have.
Sure.
Port Harcourt, Warri,
Kaduna.
and Kaduna. And Aliko Dangote got a team. After I have asked Shell to come and run it for us, and Shell said they wouldn't. I said, please, come and take equity and run. They said, no. All right, no, don't take equity. Come and run it. They said, no. Later on, I called them. I called the boss of Shell then. Come and tell me what is. And he gave me 4 or 5 reasons. So, well, first of all, we make our major profit from upstream, not from downstream. Downstream, we run just to maintain our head, keep our head above water. 2, our refineries were too small. 3, he said our refineries are not well maintained. 4, he said there was too much corruption around the activities of our refinery, and they would not want to get involved in that. And when anybody tells you a thing like that, what will you do? And it was after that Aliko got a team together and they paid $750 million to take part in PPP, running the refinery. My successor refunded their money. And I went to my successor. I said, do you know? I told him what transpired. He said, NNPC said they wanted the refinery and they can run it. And I said, but you know they cannot run it. But I was told not too long ago that since that time, more than $2 billion have been squandered on the refinery, and they still will not work. Anybody can tell you, if a company like Shell tells me what they told me, I will believe them.
While the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has extended an invitation to former President Olusegun Obasanjo to tour the Port Harcourt refinery and verify its operational status. This invitation follows Obasanjo's recent interview on Channels Television, where he referenced advice from Shell Petroleum Development Company questioning the refinery's functionality. Obasanjo claimed that SPDC has expressed concerns about corruption hindering the refinery's operations and alleged that the NNPCL had misled Nigerians about its functionality. In response, NNPCL's Chief Corporate Communications Officer Olufemi Shonoye invited the former president to visit the refinery, assuring him of the company's commitment to transparency and accountability. Shonoye further highlighted NNPCL's efforts, stating that the company had not only carried out turnaround maintenance but also a complete overhaul of the refinery. He emphasized that NNPCL, now a limited liability company, has transitioned from a loss-making government cooperation to a profit-driven international energy firm committed to enhancing and maintaining the refinery to global standards. Regarding recent media reports about NNPCL halting crude oil supplies to Dangote refinery, Shonoye dismissed the claims, calling them false and unnecessary to address. On security matters, a coalition of Arewa youths and Northern Elders for Peace and Political Development has tasked Nigerian security chiefs to end the reign of terror being perpetrated by a notorious bandit kingpin, Bello Turji, in order to save the lives of innocent people. Turji has recently threatened to wipe out villagers in the 3 local government areas of Shinkafi, Zurmi, and Isa in Zamfara and Sokoto states, leading to a mass exodus of the locals who are now living in fear. Trust TV's Bello Musa reports.
Rising from a joint meeting in Kaduna, leaders of the groups issued a list of demands, including the urgent need to confront security threats and challenges bedeviling the North and the country as a whole.
It is time for our political leaders, elite, and those in authority who are of the northern extraction to come together and bring lasting solutions to the numerous challenges facing our region. Unarguably, the development has retarded our collective progress, unity, cohesion, and development.
The group also expressed worry over the lack of unity among the region's political leaders and appointees, saying it undermines the desire for collective approach and dealing with the myriad of challenges afflicting the region.
We urge Mr. NSA Rivadu to kindly, for God's sake, use his good office and bring an end to bandit kingpin Bello Turji's nefarious reign of terror in many states of Sokoto, like Sokoto, Zamfara, and Katsina state.
The group frowned at the recent allegations by the leader of the Niger military junta, General Abdurrahman Chiani, against Nigerian authorities, which they say is capable of undermining the long-term and historic ties between Nigeria and Niger, and therefore demanded an outright apology from the leader of the junta. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The Kebbi State Governor, Nasser Idris, on Thursday said there are no established bandit camps within the state. He explained that most of the bandits operating in Kebbi infiltrated from neighboring states, as the state shares borders with 3 states and 2 countries. Governor Idris disclosed this while addressing journalists after a closed-door security meeting in Birnin Kebbi. He emphasized that the state government has made significant efforts to address security challenges over the past year. To further enhance the fight against banditry, Governor Idris announced plans to strengthen the operations of vigilante groups complementing security forces in the state. He said as part of these efforts, the government will procure 1,000 motorcycles for the vigilante groups to boost their mobility and efficiency. Former Anambra State Governor and Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi has raised alarm over Nigeria's worsening crisis, calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to embrace bold leadership and implement radical reforms to address the country's challenges. The report.
In a candid New Year's message, Obi painted a stark picture of Nigeria's socio-economic situation, describing the nation as being in a state of emergency due to economic collapse, deepening insecurity and widespread hunger. He warned that the current trajectory could lead to a further decline unless immediate and decisive actions are taken. Obi highlighted the alarming poverty statistics, stating that over 100 million Nigerians now live in extreme poverty, while 150 million endure multidimensional hardship.
Because we all love Nigeria and desire its prosperity, I would like to suggest some actions I would have personally applied differently. It is time to confront our national problems boldly, decisively, with a sense of urgency, and I suggest as follows. Commence a visible and verifiable reduction in cost of governance.
In one of his most pointed criticisms, Obi criticized President Tinubu's extensive foreign trips, 180 days abroad in just 580 days in office, arguing that this detracts from addressing Nigeria's pressing domestic issues. He advised the president to embark on a state-by-state tour to gain first-hand insight into the dire economic and security challenges facing the nation.
Out of approximately 580 days you have been in office, it is reported that you have spent about 30% or around 180 days on more than 30 publicly recorded trips overseas. My appeal is that you dedicate 20% of 2025, roughly 72 days, to visit each of the 36 states for 2 days each. As a president, such visit will give you opportunity to better understand their economic and security situations across the country.
Obi also lamented Nigeria's fall from being Africa's largest economy in 2014 to its current fourth position, noting that the GDP has contracted to $200 billion, with per capita income dropping to $1,000.
As a nation, we are falling from being the highest GDP in Africa in 2014 at $574 billion and per capita of about $3,500 to now ranking the fourth with a GDP less than 50% of what we were a decade ago, about 200 billion, with per capita less than a third, about 1,000.
The 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate further reflected on the challenges of being in opposition, citing systematic hostility and personal sacrifices required to remain steadfast in the fight for a better Nigeria.
President Bola Tinubu has expressed gratitude for the National Assembly's support over the past 19 months, pledging his administration's commitment to leading Nigeria to a brighter future. The president made this known on Wednesday while hosting Vice President Kashim Shettima, the leadership of the National Assembly, and former principal officers of the legislature in Lagos. Acknowledging the lawmakers' encouragement, President Tinubu vowed to work even harder, embrace intellectual inquisitiveness, and make bold decisions aimed at driving national development. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, praised the president for his courage and dedication to reforms, reaffirming the National Assembly's unwavering support for the administration. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, also commended President Tinubu for his respect for and collaboration with the National Assembly.
we are determined, we are capable, we are free, and we are resolute. And we will be there. We will take Nigeria to that promised land with you. And it's not an easy job, yes. The truth is, I asked for this job. You all work hard to give it to me, and I must do it.
Nigeria is now becoming a destination where people come in and can get visa at the airport. It never happened before. You are making a lot of reforms that at the end we shall smile because of foreign direct investment. We tried to do Eurobond. We approved Eurobond for you of about $2 billion. We oversubscribed under 1 week, Mr. President. 10 billion, 9 billion, 9 billion within a few days. That shows you that people are still interested in Nigeria.
The National Assembly today is more united than ever before. The National Assembly is more fulfilled than ever before. I also want to appreciate you, Mr. President, for bringing more soko to the poor. Nigerians at the beginning of the year had more challenges in life, but as the year started coming to an end, more soko, more food, more prosperity has started pouring in. We believe 2025 will be the ultimate year where every Nigerian will be proud of this administration.
As the year 2025 begins, Nigerians want the federal government to address pressing national issues such as the tax reforms, subsidy removal, and improvements in essential infrastructure. Speaking to Trust TV on their expectations for the year, they called for the federal government to reverse the debated tax reforms as they fear that such reforms will exacerbate inflation and hardship across the country. They expressed hope that 2025 will bring improvements in infrastructure, including electricity, water supply, and road networks.
So after removing subsidy removal, nobody was held responsible for making money from subsidy and all that. At the same time, tax reform again, which is another second thing that Nigeria has to deal with, knowing fully that Nigeria is not a productive country. So for me, one of my major targets is for that tax reform to be looked into and hopefully withdraw first.
Is to the masses, to support masses, to help us. This economy, everything is down. Everybody is now, we are ashy. So let's come and go relief. So where there is relief, we will.
The federal government's decision to fully implement the return of history studies in Nigeria's education sector has elicited mixed reactions among Nigerians and educationists. In 2018, then Minister of Education Adamu ordered the reintroduction of history as a standalone subject in basic and junior secondary schools. He also launched a history curriculum and teacher's guide. However, the directive was not fully implemented. In this report, Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail explores the importance of history studies for Nigerian students and the country at large. Take a look.
For years, there have been debates and blame shifting about who was responsible for removing history from Nigeria's education curriculum. However, it is established that the removal of history was implemented in the 2009-2010 academic session during the Yar'Adua administration, though some claim it had been excluded as far back as 1982. Recently, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, announced the full return of history studies to Nigerian schools. This announcement has sparked discussions among Nigerians.
Nobody values history. They don't value history. The present educational system, I think if you are a history student, I don't think you are being recognized. They will even be laughing at you because you study history. But I believe that history is what makes system continue. Yes, the history. Because when you look at the past, you compare with the present and the future. That is where you'll be able to benefit from what they are doing.
Because it's really not learning from history. I have to take history serious and put more, because me, I didn't actually offer history in school. I know few histories of the country due to social studies and current affairs. So they really don't teach histories in our school.
For us to know what history is all about, it is very, very highly important for us to know about history. I will know where I'm coming from, you know where you are coming from. And it's also even when it's not even where they omit it out. So a lot of those are our professors. If you are a professor of history, you know you have lost it also one way or the other. So by trying to bring it back is a very, very welcome development.
Over the last 2 decades, millions of Nigerian students have been deprived of history education, which could have deepened their understanding of their heritage and identity. Educationists and historians argue that neglecting history has significantly hampered the nation's development and progress.
Every individual person has a history behind him or her. And it is important to know your history because it had shaped your past. It will influence your future. Whether you are dealing with a nation or you are dealing with individuals. And that's why in history we say that learn from history. Don't learn from your own history. Because you are studying society, you know what people have done in the past, the errors that they have committed, and those who have succeeded, how they have succeeded, and so on and so forth. Then these are lessons that you draw from learning history. History is the pillar of every nation. If you don't know your history, you cannot build a nation.
On Tuesday, Minister Tunji Alausa reaffirmed the return of history to the basic education level. While this policy has been widely praised, concerns persist about its effective implementation.
And you know, because of the nature of our federal system, primary schools is under the jurisdiction of local governments. Secondary schools are under the jurisdiction of state governments. And you know, the federal government only intervenes. Like in the case of primary basic education, UBEC is only an intervention body. It's just like TET Fund. It's a tertiary education trust fund. So they are just intervention to help. So the problem we have is that even though history has been restored, people have written books, including myself, you don't find the local government, local education authorities or the state government buying these books.
As Nigerian students anticipate the return of history to their classrooms, the government faces a critical challenge: recruiting and training qualified history teachers to bring this policy to life. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has warned that in the absence of visible and concrete efforts at addressing pending issues and meeting its expectation, 2025 will be a year of long-drawn confrontation between the union and the federal government. Describing the efforts made by the federal government to address its issues last year as window dressing and cosmetic, ASU said the federal government made no major difference in the university education sector, continued its neglect of the university system, and failed to satisfactorily resolve its issues in the year 2024. According to the chairman of ASU, Ibadan chapter, Professor Ayo Akinwole, in a statement on Wednesday, the uninterrupted academic calendar in 2024 was a result of sacrifice of the union, not that the government had addressed its impending issues. The union flayed the federal government over policy somersault in the 18 years benchmark for admission into tertiary education and asked the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government to, instead of embarking on a fresh renegotiation of the agreement, set in motion a process that will lead to the review and signing of the Nimi Briggs-led renegotiated draft agreement. This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up, Army vows to protect Nigerians from terrorism, banditry, and others. There's and more to come. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Hour. Here's a recap of our top stories. We brought you that NNPCL pushes back on former President Obasanjo's rhetoric on viability of refineries. And Peter Obi urges Tinubu to deliver radical leadership and reforms in 2025. Moving on to more stories, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has urged the 36 state governors to take charge of grassroots development, emphasizing that the financial autonomy granted to local government is not an attempt to diminish the role of governors in overseeing the third tier of government. This was part of an interaction between the president and the Nigerian Governors Forum at his Ikoyi residence in Lagos during the New Year celebrations. The report.
During a New Year homage led by the Vice President Kashim Shettima and members of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF) at his Ikoyi residence, the President expressed his gratitude for their support and collaboration. He highlighted key areas demanding joint efforts for the nation's progress. President Tinubu called for stronger federal and state government collaboration to address pressing challenges, including local government autonomy, agriculture productivity, and currency stability.
You have the control of your local governments. Do what you expected of grassroots effectiveness and restoration of their hope. It's in your hand. There's nothing, no one is among us on all these tiers of government. There was some gossip that maybe we had a disagreement or quarrel and everything when it was local government's autonomy. No. Just drive the development down there to the local government authorities. Nobody wants to take the control away from you.
The president also announced plans to visit Enugu State on January 4th as part of the series of visits to various states across the federation. Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and governor of Kwara State, commended the decision by this day to name President Tinubu Man of the Year, describing it as a major endorsement of the administration's policies. The governor encouraged the president to visit states to witness ongoing transformations and assured him of governor's steadfast support, particularly in strengthening local security frameworks to enhance national security.
I have not done 2 years in this administration, but I've done more projects in my less than 2 years and in the 4 years of my first term. And that is due to the structural adjustment program you're doing. Restructuring the economy means that we're getting more funding. Yes, there's inflation, but what we're getting overrides the inflation and we're delivering a lot. As this year begins, I know for sure you'll be visiting many states and you'll see firsthand the transformation going on at sub-national level. You'll be proud of what you see in various states.
The meeting at the President's Ikoyi residence brought together prominent figures from the executive and legislative arms of government, including former speakers of the House of Representatives, Dimeji Bankole and Yakubu Dogara, as well as chief of staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila.
The crisis in the Edo State local government councils took a different dimension on Thursday, as several persons were reportedly wounded when gunmen allegedly invaded the Uhumwode local government council headquarters in Ego. The chairman of the council, Kenneth Adodo, alleged that the people involved in the shooting were policemen from the Edo State Government House. This followed reports of the impeachment of the chairman of Umuawode and Oriomon local government councils by the elected councillors. Their Owan East counterparts, Prince Aminu Okodo Kadirias, reacted swiftly to his own impeachment, maintaining that his purported impeachment and that of his vice, Clement Oje Bovo, was unconstitutional and illegal. The councillors in Oriomon had on Wednesday impeached the leader of the House, Daniel Osariemen, and replaced him with Chuks Isan, as they claimed that Osariemen was being mobilized to impeach the chairman, Newman Ogiagbe, and his vice Midwest Ogbego. The purported suspended leader, Osariemen, was allegedly to have led unknown persons to take over the secretariat of the council in Abudu, where he reportedly resumed as the acting chairman of the local government area. In a statement, the chief press secretary to the Oriomon local government chairman, Roy Osariemen, said the action in Abudu was illegal, adding that Niman Ogiagbe remained the chairman of the local government area. In Rivers State, Governor Siminalayi Fubara has signed the 1.1 trillion naira 2025 budget into law. Fubara, in a remark after signing the bill into law on Thursday, thanked the Victor Oko Jumbo-led State Assembly for thoroughly scrutinizing and speedily passing the budget. He said the appropriation provides for spending till December 31st, 2025 and contains 12 sections. The governor insisted that the only House of Assembly existing in the state was the one led by Oko Jumbo.
I want to say this, maybe for some persons somewhere who are still mixing up issues. We have only one assembly, and that assembly is headed by Right the Honorable Victor Okojumbo. A group of friends, they embarked on what they call Simba's journey. Halfway the vessel, while they were coasting, they now realized that they were entering inside the den of devil and sharks. They now retrieved. It is too late. It is too late. And the truth about it, we're not going back. We've given them enough room. As it stands now, our major target is the interest of Rivers State and to continue to defend the integrity of governance. So as long as I'm concerned, we have moved on.
Excellency, it is an honor and a thing of pride to stand before you here today that the 2025 Appropriation Bill number 1 is being given assent by your humble self. Your Excellency, in 2024, we witnessed unprecedented growth in River State in various sectors, whether it is in infrastructural development, health, education, social welfare, security. Your Excellency, you have become a beacon of hope to the common man on the street. Your Excellency, the people of River State are indeed very happy with your style of leadership.
Meanwhile, still in Rivers State, the All Progressive Congress, APC in Rivers State, has described the presentation of the state's 2025 appropriation bill before the Victor Oko Jumbo-led Rivers State House of Assembly by Governor Siminalayi Fubara and its subsequent passage into law as illegal. The APC state chairman, Tony Okocha, who spoke to journalists in Port Harcourt, said The presentation of the 2025 appropriation bill to Pro Fubara 3-member River State House of Assembly is in violation of court rulings as well as established governance protocols. Okocha alleged that the governor's action demonstrated a blatant disregard for the rule of law and judicial pronouncement. He also criticized the governor for his leadership style, which he described as divisive and confrontational, while accusing him of aiming for war instead of genuine reconciliation. Okocha further clarified that the 27 lawmakers were not members of APC, but of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, in the state.
It is unfortunate, it is unimaginable, it is unthinkable that a governor had risen through the ranks. If for nothing else, he was a civil servant, full-blown civil servant, in the Ministry of Finance. It means, of course, that over the years, he is not a toddler in the business of budget and how it is presented. 27 of the assembly members are on this side. 3 members of assembly are on this side. And between you and I, is it not an anathema that a budget of a state as prominent and as all-important as River State were presented to an illegal setting?
The Nigerian Army has assured that it will not jeopardize the lives of Nigerians as it works to protect the country from terrorism, banditry, and kidnappings. It stated this during an event in Maimalari Cantonment to remember fallen heroes who paid the supreme price at the battlefront against insurgency in the northeast. Trust TV's Beatrice Kurutsi takes it from here.
It was a special and significant night for Maimalari Cantonment as families, civilians and uniformed men gathered to unwind with presentations from stand-up comedians, traditional dancers and others.
I said I did checkpoint. He said, what happened for them? I said, I'm Islam. He said, no wonder. He said, no, your bishop will the palo door for.
This year's tribute to our troops with the theme A Nation's Gratitude, Thank You Soldier, serves as a reminder of the sacrifices troops make to foster peace and protect the sovereignty of the country. Prayers were said for those who laid down their lives and those still active at the battlefield by children orphaned by the conflict.
For everything they have done for us and my friends and our remaining mothers, may God continue to bless them all.
The GOC 7th Division Major General Abubakar Haruna said the army will give its best to restore normalcy in the northeast region.
We continue to pledge our loyalty to our headquarters, to the Chief of Army Staff, and indeed the Nigerian Army as a whole, so that at the end of the day we'll be able to give in the best we can and return to normalcy the Borno State, where insurgency has eaten deep. It is our commitment to do this. God willing, we shall succeed.
Nigerians are beginning to see how selfless you are. Nigerians are beginning to feel how dedicated you are serving your fatherland. You are the little bunch out of 230 million people who have chosen to sign off your human rights. Sign off your human rights in protecting the dignity of this country. The courage you display at the front lines, like those in Chabo, Baga, and the rest of the front lines, is what keeps our nation strong and united. The Nigerian people are proud of you.
The Borno State government will continue to support not only our fighting forces, but also those who are no longer fighting. We know that they have contributed their own quota to our national defense and security, and we shall not abandon them. We shall use all the available infrastructure to send them our support, not only appreciating them verbally, but also appreciating them in kind and in cash.
The remembrance of the fallen heroes hopes to rekindle and reflect on the gains of peace, while praying for peace replaces guns in the region. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
An urgent call has been made to increase investment in programs that support the poor and vulnerable in Katsina State. This appeal, highlighted during a recent news briefing, emphasizes the need for enhanced social protection initiatives to address poverty and inequality effectively. Abdullahi Yamadi reports.
The Katsina Social Protection Forum emphasized that boosting social investments is crucial for fostering inclusive growth, reducing inequality, and building a resilient society where every citizen can thrive. Governor Radda had earlier signed a social protection policy in 2023, aiming to use it as a tool to reduce poverty by 10%. Against this backdrop, the forum is urging the governor to accelerate the implementation of this policy to address the rising poverty levels, especially among vulnerable groups and low-income families.
These programs not only provide a vital safety net for those in need, but also contribute to the economic stability, social cohesion, and sustainable development of our society.
The forum also recommended expanding the social protection program to reach a broader segment of marginalized and impoverished populations. Although the state government has allocated over 38 billion naira for social protection initiatives in the 2025 budget to enhance inclusive growth, the forum also called for additional investments in light of the escalating poverty situation in Katsina State.
The overall goal and objective of this policy are to establish for all times, an inclusive, gender-sensitive, and age-appropriate framework for human development and collective prosperity of all residents of the state, and to establish a minimum social protection floor that enables all citizens to live a life of dignity.
The Katsina Social Protection Forum, a coalition of around 20 civil society organizations, pledged to diligently monitor the program's execution to ensure its effectiveness. Acknowledging the increasing poverty in Katsina, the forum further urged the government to expedite efforts to update its social register, thereby including more vulnerable families. The forum believes that if the government faithfully implements its economic intervention programs designed to combat poverty, inequality, and vulnerability, thousands of Katsina residents could be lifted out of severe economic hardship. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Some legal practitioners and residents in Lagos State have taken to the streets to protest against what they call and describe as the illegal acquisition of their landed properties by the Lagos State government. The protesters allege that the government has been seizing properties without providing appropriate compensation to the rightful owners. They gathered in front of the contested property located at plot 412-420 along the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, carrying banners and expressing their grievances. The land, which they claim belongs to the Taylor family, reportedly has proof of ownership. They are therefore questioning why the state government will take over the property without adequate compensation. Speaking on behalf of the family, a legal practitioner, Olalekan Festus Ojo, emphasized the importance of the protest, stating that it is a fight for justice for all Lagosians.
The Constitution under Section 1, Subsection 3 clearly states that even if there is any law that permits Sanwo-Olu to take over this property, that law can never be in conflict with Section 44, Subsection 1 of the Constitution which permits prompt payment. That's the usage of the constitution, the wordings of the constitution. Say prompt payment of adequate compensation must be made to the Taylor family before you compulsorily acquire the property. In view of the fact that there are plethora of documentation, title documents, consent judgments, we clearly demonstrate the owners of the property.
A French citizen was removed from an Air France flight at Abuja Airport on New Year's Day after clashing with security personnel. Michael Achimugu, Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, shared the details on his X account. He explained that the unruly passenger disrupted multiple flights, leading security staff to escort him off the aircraft and deny him further access to the boarding area. Now, the incident occurred on January 1st, with Achimugu providing further updates on the situation later that day.
Hello? Yusuf. Oh my God. Hello, you can't go there. Oh.
My passport! My passport!
Hello. Where are you going? Hey!
Okay, I will come back. My passport! My passport! Where is my passport? Here.
When you go upstairs, I'll give you your passport.
You know?
Yeah?
You know the
when we get to the plane, I'll give you your passport.
Okay.
You don't want to collect your passport? Oh my God.
In business, 9 Nigerian banks collectively earned 4.85 trillion naira in interest income on loans and advances to customers in the first 9 months of 2024. This is according to separate financial records of the 9 banks. The figure marked a growth of 114.95% compared to 2.26 trillion naira recorded in the same period of 2023. Individual bank analysis showed that the Access Holdings led the industry with 1.13 trillion naira in interest income as of September 2024, up from 458.41 billion naira in the corresponding period of 2023. The 146.4% surge reflects the bank's lending strategy and expansion of its loan portfolio. Zenith Bank followed closely, reporting an interest income of 1.7 trillion naira, more than doubling its 408.66 billion naira figure from the previous year, representing an increase of 161.8%. FBN Holdings, Fidelity Bank, Guarantee Holding Trust Company, FCMB Group, Stanbic IBTC Holdings, Wema and Sterling Banks complete the list of the 9 banks. Let's join Yusuf Akogu for stock market update.
Welcome to Stock Market Update. I am Yusuf Akogu. The first stock trading on NGX in 2025 ended positive as investors take position to assess stock prices. Let's see how the stock market ended today. 0.25% positive. Of course, if you look at the volume of trade, 829.8 million shares valued at 5.7 billion naira in a days of 11,752 lead exchanges among investors. Of course, the all share index moved a little bit above 102,000 basis points. It ended the year. Looking at the top gainers for today, we have Mansard. Mansard gained 10% to close at 9 naira and 2 kobo per share. NCR also gained 10% as well to close at 5 naira and 50 kobo per share. Cornerstone, an insurance company, recorded 10% gain to close at 3 naira and 96 kobo per share there as well. Looking at the losers, LRX lead the table there 4.75% down to close at 3 naira and 1 kobo. NASCON also down as well 4.31% to close at 30 naira per share. Computer Warehouse Group CWG down 3.25% to close at 7 naira and 45 kobo per share. The top trading equities look like this. Royalex lead the table there 209.9 million shares traded. Champ PLC 62.9 million shares. ICO Insurance 58.6 million shares traded as well. That's the stock market highlight. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. And that's stock market update. I am Yusuf Akogu.
On international scene, a metallic object believed to be part of a rocket separation stage has fallen from space into a village in eastern Kenya, according to the Kenyan Space Agency and local media reports. Speaking to journalist Major Alois Were, an official from the Kenyan Space Agency confirmed the discovery of the partially burnt metallic debris weighing approximately 500 kilograms. The object, described as a metallic ring, is suspected to be space debris from a rocket. The official urged residents not to fear, affirming that the Kenyan Space Agency would investigate its origin and assess any potential damage to the surrounding area. He said in the coming days, the agency will work to determine the object's country of origin and its journey through space. The discovery highlights the growing issue of space debris re-entering Earth's atmosphere, with fragments occasionally reaching the surface. A devastating fire broke out at Accra's Kantamanto market early Thursday, destroying over 100 shops and causing significant losses. The blaze, which started around 1 a.m., prompted a swift response from the Ghana National Fire Service, deploying 13 fire tenders from the city or across the city. Firefighters worked tirelessly through the morning and eventually brought the flames under control. The cause of the fire is yet to be determined as investigations are underway. Let's now join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
In line with the National Sports Commission's Catch Them Young disposition, the Commission has thrown its way behind teenage tennis sensation Khadijat Mohammed. At 15, Khadijat has proven to be the next big deal in Nigerian tennis. Khadijat became the first West African tennis player to win the ITF J30 World Tour at 14 in 2023, and also the first teenager to win the Dala Tennis, a title she retained in 2024. Considering the immense financial demands of professional tennis, her father, who doubles as her coach, Mohammed Oyinoi, a certified International Tennis Federation coach and a former professional tennis player, appealed to the National Sports Commission for support for her next phase of development. Hence the need for NSC to step in. NSC Chairman Shehu Diko said the Commission will ensure that Khadijat's full potentials are realized by shortlisting her for the Adopt an Athlete initiative, while also liaising with the Nigerian Tennis Federation to align with their programs. And still in sport, President of Nigerian Scrabble Federation, NSF, Engineer Tuke Aka says Scrabble enthusiasts will have lots of reasons to celebrate in 2025, while offering insight into the progress and the challenges faced along with plans for 2025. Aka said the Scrabble Federation is committed to continuing Scrabble development in 2025. While looking at 2024, Team Nigeria took top honors in various competitions, including side events, as NSF activated all its programs for 2024. It's noteworthy to mention that for the first time in history, Nigeria, represented by Abdulkudus Aliu and Sofian Buluwatife, took part in the World Youth Scrabble Championship in Sri Lanka, with Abdulkudus Olawale finishing among the top 12 in a field of over 130 participants and Sofian Buluwatife among the top 30. A feat made possible with the support of Kwara State government. Aka urged sportsmen and women, including officials, to avoid behaviors that could drive away sponsors and friends of sport from adding value, stressing the importance of upholding values that support peace and unity in the sporting community. In 2025, Team Nigeria will participate in 6 major competitions in Scrabble sport. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni.
And on that, we wrap up Trust TV News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.